Hi, it's Jacob from My Biohack. I'm a certified health coach, and today I want to talk to you about the connection between having mast cell issues and vascular issues. This isn't talked about a lot, but the angiology of this is paramount to know, especially when you're approaching people with Mcas, POTS, post-exertional malaise, or other sensitivity issues that relate to immunology. So people who have overactive mast cells and they have issues with histamine intolerance also have a problem with their vascular tone. What mast cells secrete in their granules are numerous amounts of chemokines and cytokines, but the primary amount of granules that are degranulated from mast cells are histamine and serotonin. Histamine is a very well-known vasodilator. What that means is the blood vessels, your venous system, they expand. So from becoming that amount of blood can go through, now we have more blood that can go through. And what this means is more blood is trying to go through at a given time every time that there's degranulation from mast cells. Mast cells also degranulate serotonin. And a little known fact that got lost in history is serotonin is a vasodilator as well. The way we discovered serotonin comes from our gut called enteramine. That was what it was originally referred to before they discovered 5-HT receptors in the brain when they were studying psychedelics back in the 50s and 60s. And so the idea of serotonin having vascular properties was largely lost. When you look at the etymology of the word serotonin, it comes from sera, which relates to blood, like you get your serum drawn, and tonin, which relates to tone, which is the structure of that. It's so when you understand where serotonin comes from, you'll understand what serotonin does. Now that we know that histamine and serotonin are potent vasodilators, how does this relate to mast cell and vascular issues? That's probably what you'd be asking. Well, the answer is simple. When you have problems with your vascular system, such as your microcapillary system, increasing blood flow is not beneficial, because when you have the equation force equals mass times acceleration, then the more blood that is shooting through means the faster that blood is moving. And blood carries oxygen with it. And when oxygen becomes displaced off of that red blood cell, that creates oxidative stress. All right, continue following with me. Once you understand this, you'll fully understand what's going on here. That oxidative stress breaks down a lining called the endothelial glycocalyx. The glycocalyx is like this hair-like structure that lines all your capillaries and your blood vessels. It's from your arteries all the way to your venous system. Now, what that does, the glycocalyx allows for red blood cells to easily pass through those capillaries, because a lot of capillaries are microscopic, which means that they only allow one red blood cell through at a time. When you have destruction of more capillaries and microcapillaries, and you're limited to just the ones that are used in like sitting or laying down, and you've lost the ones that are reserved for moving around and using your vascular system, stressing it, you do have reserved microcapillaries. When those are eliminated because of stress and the glycocalyx is destroyed, oxidative stress, and the glycocalyx is destroyed, then every time you vasodilate, that blood shoots through at a much higher rate than it would if it had multiple capillaries to go through. And let's say there were 4 capillaries, each one could get 25% of the red blood cells, but now you had destruction of these 3, you only have 1 left. So only Remember that equation, force equals mass times acceleration. It's important. All right, so now you're asking, if vasodilation is so bad, why are my mast cells secreting markers that essentially create more vasodilation? Isn't that bad? Well, yeah, but they're doing it in what is called the wound healing cycle. In the wound healing cycle, you have first inflammation, and then you have anti-inflammation, and then you have remodeling. So take, for example, a cut on your hand. If you were to cut it, you'd first have inflammation and thrombosis. That way it stops the blood from leaking out or anything from the external environment coming in. Then you have anti-inflammation, where growth factors and things come in to try to heal that area. And then you have remodeling, where that scab is starting to form and break apart, and all the other good stuff is happening where you're building your new skin. Well, that same thing happens in your venous system. Now, what mast cells do with histamine and serotonin is they're trying to bring in the remodeling system. They're trying to promote vascularity so you can bring in those healing growth factors. But what happens with a lot of people is that they get stuck in an inflammatory state, which is termed the M1 state when you look at it in the literature. And the M1 state can keep you in a repetitive cycle of inflammation. So trying to get the mast cells to turn over into an M2 state, which is the anti-inflammatory state, will progress that wound healing process of the vasculature. Your mast cells are just there to try to protect you. They're part of your innate immune system. They were the first immune cell that mammals had before they developed this very complicated innate and adaptive immune structure. So once you understand that mast cells are just there to try to help you, and what histamine and serotonin is doing, then maybe you understand that histamine intolerance isn't a bad thing. It's not a real diagnosis because you understand the pathology of it. The pathology of it with histamine intolerance would be the improper balance of histamine, not dietary amines are causing you a problem. If dietary amines are causing you a problem, you either have a problem with DAO, or you have a problem with HMNT, or you just have dysbiosis. That is very simple. Mast cells are a little bit more complicated because we're dealing with the immune system. The immune system's just there to help you. It wants you to heal, but you have to do the right steps to heal. And that's what I do with my clients. That's what I talk about on my Telegram channel. And that's what I'm here to talk about it with you as well. So if you want to learn more information about this, please join our Telegram channel. We talk about this stuff all the time. I have weekly live streams where I answer people's questions. And if you need a health private investigator, you can hire me one-on-one to work with you on your case. I hope this video has provided some insight to you. And if you think it's helpful to you, smash that like button. If you think it was helpful for someone else, please share it with them. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified about more information. This stuff is not talked about enough. I really appreciate it that you stayed through the end of this video and that you took the time to help yourself and figure this stuff out. Thank you so much for your time, and stay beautiful.